This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen over here with my co-host Mikey. How are you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? We made it. It's Oscar weekend. I didn't think we'd ever make it. I mean, it seems like they keep pushing the show further and further into the next year. But we finally made it.
Yes.
It's just so
At least
strange.
It's not 2021. That was like almost April, or it was April.
Yeah, it
because
was
of COVID and everything. That was
awesome. Since our last recording, I have made one official change on my picks.
Me too.
I changed cinematographer from Autumn Arkapaw to Michael Bauman for One Battle After Another. I think that's the wise decision. I'm not buying into all of this.
The wise decision now because we're post Oscars. So
yes, that's right. We're post Oscars. Yes. So I don't know. I still look. We're recording a couple days before the Oscars. I still think there's going to be fireworks. I think there's going to be some craziness that goes down at this Oscars.
Yeah,
and I'm here for it. And
we'll do a little mini reaction episode.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. We can do that.
5-10 minutes, maybe 15. Just so our thoughts on everything and how crazy it was or wasn't.
We'll see.
We'll see.
And I think like giving it, if it was crazy, giving it like a few days to see what all the pundits are saying will be fun.
I don't know if I want to read what the pundits are saying.
It's going to be fun. I am very much looking forward to it myself. But this was a weird weekend for me. Mm-hmm. Nothing that I wanted to see was coming out this particular weekend. And so I didn't go to a movie theater this weekend. And it's been a long time since I've skipped a weekend like that. Because I saw Hoppers last weekend when it came out. And so I felt weird. Luckily, I mean, I had Hugo to watch, obviously. I watched all 5 episodes of the Mr. Scorsese film. And the only reason I'm calling it Mr. Scorsese film is because that's what the director calls it before each episode. It's so funny. It says something like an exploration into, or a film about, or something like that. So Rebecca Miller made this as intending it to be a film. And I think what happened is Apple probably split it up into 5 episodes, is what I think probably happened. But as far as Rebecca Miller is concerned, it's a film. And so I logged that son of a gun on Letterboxd as if it was a film.
That does happen sometimes. Didn't the OJ one wasn't that supposed to be a film, and they split it up into parts?
Because it depends on
the doc, right?
Yeah, it is a doc. It depends on the distributor. I mean, you know, if your distributor wants to split it up and try and get as much traction out of it as they can, they'll do that. But Rebecca Miller herself, she did this as if it was a movie, a documentary. So I mean, it was glorious. Though I'm really mad at myself that I didn't watch it when it originally came out. But I was on such a Scorsese high after watching Hugo that I wanted to watch the documentary. And it was great. One of my favorite documentaries about a filmmaker in a while. So
I did spend the weekend at the theater at least once in Hoppers. I didn't go to the theater last weekend. Did feel a little strange, but not like I do come. I saw 100 films. I saw 88 different films in theaters last year, but I went to the theaters 100 times because I saw a couple of films multiple times. But even then, I skipped some weekends last year because I saw so many on the same weekend. Sometimes I would see 2 or 3 on a weekend. But this time, this year, I skipped a weekend. I only saw 1 this week, and I was trying to get a second one in, but there wasn't really much that I was kind of like really pushing to go.
You wanted to go see that Undertone thing.
I do want to see Undertone. I just want to see if it really freaks me out. I'm not really a fan of horror films.
They claim that.
I could go see the Pout Fish early access screening tomorrow, but I don't
Pout
think I'm going
Pout
to do
Fish.
that.
What the heck is that?
I don't know.
Is that some Indian film? I don't know what that is.
I have no clue. It is on the
That's
site for our
hilarious.
theater.
Interesting.
So,
Well, I'm
North
making
by
up for it
Northwest.
because I'm seeing the same movie twice next week. So I'm making up for it. I'm seeing
Okay.
Project Hail Mary on Monday and Thursday. So
Well, and I will be seeing Monday night, traveling up to Pooler, Georgia,
nice.
to the world's tallest IMAX up there with my good friend. And we're going to go see Project Hail Mary early access screening.
Yes.
And then Thursday night, I'm going to see Ready or Not too.
Yeah, I'll see that Friday or probably Friday.
I'm a huge fan of the first film.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot of fun. I love Catherine Newton. I love Samara Weaving as well, but I'm already, as you know, a big fan of the first film.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to see what they've got for the second one.
No,
I like Radio Silence.
Yeah. I love Radio Silence also. I'm very much looking forward to their take on The Mummy when that comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely see that. I'll probably see that at a late night show one of those nights.
No, Friday night next week, I'm going out of town with another friend to go to a local ice hockey game. So
right on.
I can't. That's why I'm not going Friday night to see it. I'm going Thursday night. So, well, do you want to get into our shelf pick?
Dude, let us dive in. I alluded to Mr. Scorsese. Obviously, this was a 2-week break between our off-the-shelf picks, and that gave our listeners 2 weeks to find the time to watch Hugo. I hope those that wanted to do that watched the film. This was my first time, obviously, as all my off-the-shelf picks are. I'm not picking films that I've seen before, and this was one that, for whatever reason, in 2011, I guess I just skipped a Scorsese film. I don't know why. But this was much more lauded than I thought it had been. It was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, which I had no idea. It won.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, it won 5 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
It won Robert Richardson for cinematography. This is back when sound mixing and sound editing were still different categories. So it won both of those. Also visual effects and art direction, which I think they change that one to production design?
I think so.
Yeah. So I think at the time, so this would have been for the 2012 Academy Awards. It was called art direction then, but that's production design now. Also was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, screenplay, editing, costume design, and score, which Howard Shore, beautiful score. Absolutely loved this. Obviously directed by Martin Scorsese, adapted screenplay by John Logan, who's a bit of a lauded guy. He's been around for a while. If you look his name up, you'll see that he has written some very popular screenplays. So looks like he has been nominated for 3 Oscars, but has not won an Oscar yet. He was nominated for Hugo, The Aviator, and Gladiator. So there you go. I mean, that guy, very big screenwriter. So let's talk about Hugo. Go ahead.
He's done some big time films.
Yeah.
Look, and it's like big time, and then it's like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah, no, he's done some weird. I think that happens a lot. Sometimes you just got to pay the bills and have some weird movies. But if you're not familiar with Hugo, I'll read the log line. And this does not give anything away about what the film was. And so when I read the log line, I was like, oh, this is going to be a cute little kids film. But in 1931 Paris, an orphan living in the walls of a train station gets wrapped up in a mystery involving his late father and an automaton. Seems like could be just like a kids movie. But man, this was much deeper than I was expecting it to be. Asa Butterfield was a kid at the time. He was kind of the star of the film, playing Hugo Cabert. Chloe Grace Moretz was also in this. Christopher Lee, Ben Kingsley, Sacha Baron Cohen, Ray Winstone, Emily Mortimer, Michael Stolberg, and Helen McCrory. That's kind of your main cast. Those are kind of the people that you follow. Jude Law, very small part in it as Hugo's dad. But we find out as the film progresses, and look, I am kind of going to spoil the mystery of the film a little bit because I think that is kind of the crux of the whole thing. That this ends up being more, from Scorsese's standpoint, just a love letter to cinema. which I was not expecting at all.
Yes. Yeah, and specifically the origins of cinema, the silent film era, and George Méliès, who is a real director.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're doubting as you're watching this movie that the clips that they show throughout the film are not real, those are actual clips. Those are actual films. You are seeing a lot of actual film from George Méliès' filmography and stuff that they had to find, because I believe, from my understanding, that a lot of the things that they mention in this movie did actually happen to George Méliès films. They were lost,
my understanding as well.
And they basically, people never thought they were going to be able to find some of this stuff again, and they found it.
And we didn't have the concept of, keeping the films like we do nowadays.
No,
and
right.
They just didn't really understand all that stuff, and then films would get lost, and it was just kind of a commonplace nowadays to look back at Hitchcock's filmography. Some of his earliest films do not exist anymore. There's a couple of them. And they probably never will exist unless a private collector's just been hoarding them for years, and that's very doubtful at this point.
Or if, as has happened in the past, they're in someone's attic and they didn't know it was in their attic.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of random thing has happened in film history before.
Yeah, I mean, when Metropolis, just getting to another silent film, not here, I don't think, but
no, it was not.
When Metropolis was found in Brazil, I believe, it was believed to have, a lot of the movie had been believed to have been lost, or sections of the movie, big sections. And now they're only missing about 2 minutes at this point, thanks to a Brazilian print. So yeah, it was just a crazy time for keeping films. And this is a fantastical film in a way.
It is.
It's a fantastic film, but it's also a fantastical film. But I was surprised at how, like you said, heartwarming it was. And then you throw in, like, for me, I'm just a mark for seeing like Safety Last on the screen with Harold Lloyd hanging off the clock tower. The General with Buster Keaton on the train. The one big thing that really spoke to me in this, and that kept kind of being brought up throughout the film, was that Méliès was making films to bring kind of dreams to life.
Yes,
things that you couldn't see in real life.
Right.
That's what they would make for the screen. And that's not really something we talk about anymore. It still happens sometimes, but a lot of the Oscar contenders this year are about, deep themes within real life. And I get that. And that speaks to people. I understand, commercially you kind of have to, aim towards what people want anyway. But it's just kind of interesting the way that they were talking about older films and how it was really mostly escapist in nature. And that's kind of frowned upon sometimes in certain sects of Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, because I'm thinking about a filmmaker today that could be compared to George Méliès in the fact that I think James Cameron is one of those filmmakers that likes to make an event of the film and show us things that we have never seen before because of the technology that he's using. At the time, George Méliès was doing the same thing. He was using technology that people were just astonished about. One of the things that they showed in this film was the very first film that people saw, which was the train going towards them, and people were terrified because they didn't know what was going on, and they thought an actual train was coming towards them. So it was really interesting in that fact. But I mean, the movie is really good at kind of, as you're going through it, having like an unboxing of this mystery.
Yeah.
When I first turned on the movie, I had no idea what it was about. I made sure I didn't read Wikipedia. I didn't go anywhere to look anything about the movie. I didn't want to know.
I did something bad.
Oh, what did you do?
I went to Letterboxd and I was like looking at the kid. I was like, who is the kid?
Yeah.
I was like Asa Butterfield. And then I looked down and I was like, Ben Kingsley is playing George Méliès?
Yeah, see, I didn't know. I didn't know. See, I went in completely blind. And it was awesome.
It took them an hour for them to say that. And I went, okay.
Right. Yeah, because when the movie starts, it almost has like a bit of a mouse hunt vibe to it, where it's like a chase caper in a way, because this kid is living in a train station, and the cop that kind of watches the train station, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, he is always trying to catch Asa Butterfield's character, Hugo, because Hugo's always getting into mischief. We see Hugo like stealing some baked goods and just, doing things that maybe he's not supposed to, mostly because his uncle, who was the clock tower maintenance guy, kind of passes away, and Hugo kind of takes his job and is managing everything, but nobody knows it. Everybody still thinks the uncle is still alive, and they're going off of that assumption because the clocks are still getting repaired, everything's still working, and so no one knows that it's been Hugo doing this. And this cop is always trying to catch Hugo in the act of stealing or doing whatever. And the toy shop. So what's cool about this train station, obviously this is the 30s. So there's actually shops in the train station. There's like a bakery, a restaurant. There's this a flower shop, and there's this toy store that this character that Ben Kingsley is playing owns. And like you said, for like an hour of the movie, we don't really know who that is. And as the mystery unfolds, and there's this backstory about Millier starting as a magician and a tinkerer, and he kind of had created this automaton, and
they were able to build a theater that they owned, do magic shows at. Sold the theater to get into movie making business.
Right.
I mean, it's a huge backstory, and I assume most of it's real.
Oh, I think it probably is. Knowing Scorsese, I bet it is real. In fact, Scorsese is a huge film preservationist himself. Like a companion piece that I watched was the documentary Mr. Scorsese, and at least one of the 5 episodes of Mr. Scorsese talks about how much he not only is a film preservationist for American film, but a lot of world cinema as well.
Yes, he's got the World Cinema Project with Criterion, where they put up box sets of films that are important but not been released.
And so I'm thinking that this film was much more personal for him than he didn't write the screenplay. It is based upon an existing book. But I feel like from the subject matter, the film was probably really personal to him just because of his love of world cinema and the history of film.
Well, and I wondered why he took on this project. So it's 2011. He's doing a kids movie. I mean, that's the first time he's done like a kids movie.
First and only.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't done one since.
But then you watch it and you go, oh, it's because it's a love letter to, what came before in cinema. I mean, it's a whole book that's not real, because I looked it up before the author show. I literally paused the movie when they brought up this like invention of cinema book or whatever. And I was like, is that a real book? Because I'd love to, maybe read that. And
it'd be awesome. Not a real book.
And I was like, oh, it's not a real book. And then I unpaused the movie and they have the author come up and I was like, oh, okay. That was a plot point. Okay.
Yeah, it's a plot point. Exactly.
You can see exactly why he took that job on.
Right. Totally. And it's neat to get to see some of this. Not, and I haven't studied film history, so I didn't know the story of what happened to Millet, and like when World War I happened, how basically the industry at the time, not being a very huge industry, but people stopped going to movies. They just were not interested in fantasy just because they had been so shocked by everything that was happening in World War I. And so Millet lost all of his money. He ended up having to actually burn a lot of the props that were at this little studio that he had built.
Well, he decided to burn the props himself out of
it was just despair. It was just an act of despair.
He burned his prints on purpose to sell them for chemicals,
right? To make shoes, which I thought was really interesting.
Heels,
the heels of women's shoes. So strange.
I gotta wonder if that's even real. That's something I'd like to know.
So there is, kind of 2 separate plots going on with Hugo and just the difficulties that he's had in life because, we mentioned that Jude Law is in the film, just very small part as Hugo's dad. Well, he had died in a fire. And so he had to move in with his uncle, who was the clock tower, the clock repair person at this train station. And so he kind of forced Hugo to quit school and learn how to repair all these clocks. That's kind of a thing that Hugo was forced into, but still, everything kind of turns out okay for Hugo in the end.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's still fairly young. He can,
yeah,
he's
it's
got a loving
still
family now.
it's still a kids movie. It's only rated PG. I mean, there's some intense things that happen, but for a Scorsese film, it's tame. Let's say it's not your typical Scorsese film by any means. But man, I just enjoyed the heck out of this. I thought Asa Butterfield and Chloe Grace Moretz were struggled in certain places as just being the two leads.
Big fan of Chloe Grace Moretz.
I've never felt that she's a great actress, but I mean, she did as a kid. I mean, you don't want to throw them totally under the bus. They were both quite a bit younger in this movie, and there was times where maybe they weren't carrying the film quite that great, but it's still, the story still propelled itself. Ben Kingsley, who I think he's good in everything. I mean, he was great in this. I mean, I loved his character. He was reluctant to admit that he was George Millet. He wanted it to remain a secret, and he had pretty much put that part of his life behind him. I mean, he did not want to be known and remembered for whatever reason as this guy that had, for lack of a better term, I mean, he created cinema in a way, a different type of cinema than had been seen before.
Yeah, well, he didn't think anyone remembered him fondly. That was the problem. He thought he was an abject failure that nobody cared about.
Yeah.
Until they showed him he was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Which Michael Stuhlbarg kind of plays a film historian, or just a guy that's I guess, was he working at a school or a library or something?
No, he was looking at the Film Academy thing, which I guess maybe in conjunction with the library, I would assume.
Yeah.
Because he showed up in the library.
He showed up in the library.
Yeah, they're in conjunction with them, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so when he found out that George Millet could still be alive, it changed his life, because he was very much wanting to see him in person, and so he had Asa Butterfield, and I guess Chloe Grace Moretz's character was the granddaughter of George Millet, or just an adopted.
She was the goddaughter.
The goddaughter, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it started with a G.
Her parents had died, and they were the godparents.
They were the godparents, yeah, exactly. And so she kind of just helped him out at the toy shop, and Asa Butterfield's character and her character kind of had like this interesting relationship, because she was quite a bit older than him. And so it wasn't ever like a love relationship, I don't think, but they became good friends. But yeah, I mean, this also, from a production design and an art direction standpoint, it just looked fantastic, especially on the 4K screen. I just thought it was amazing looking. I don't know how much of it was practical. There was obviously some digital effects involved.
Yes. Well, that was something interesting to me. First off, this won the Oscar for digital effects or visual effects.
Visual effects, yeah.
It's interesting because when you look at this film, it's in 2011. The effects are pretty good for the time.
Yeah.
You can, I think today, when you look at it, you can see some of the seams here or there, but it doesn't take me out of the movie personally. And I don't know how many people are seeing that necessarily. It's just some backgrounds here or there where I'm like, there's clearly a green screen or something's been replaced in post. But I was just kind of thinking about it at the time. I was like, nowadays there's so much a focus on, the effects need to be bigger, better, clearer, that kind of thing. They didn't have 4K effects in this movie.
No.
And yet you're perfectly fine watching this. To me, the problem sometimes I think with things is, yes, Avatar is a beautiful looking film, but I really care more about the storytelling. And unfortunately for me, 2 out of the 3 of the Avatar films do not do it for me storytelling wise. And so I appreciate some of the visual effects here more, because I'm kind of like, they're not working with the same budget that Avatar does, but yet this works really well for the film. And it looks good. It blends in with the film, and that's what it should do for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm with you. I mean, it didn't take away. I mean, obviously you could tell that there were digital effects involved. I mean, but
when he becomes the automaton in the dream.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's stuff that in 2011 actually is pretty impressive for what they were doing in 2011. And I guess from Scorsese's standpoint, thinking about his filmography, he probably hasn't had too many films with this much CG animation involved and visual effects involved. I mean, most of his stuff is gritty, street-driven stuff.
The Irishman might have as many shots, but
this was well before The Irishman. But yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah. No, The Irishman unfortunately has a lot of de-aging technology that they used for that, which that movie. I don't know. In all honesty, I need to give it a second chance, but it's
interesting because Hugo comes out in the time of the 3D fad. So Avatar's just come out. Let's bringing it back to Avatar. It's affected the culture. Everybody's making 3D films, and Hugo is probably Martin Scorsese's one and only 3D film.
Probably, I would think, yeah.
And it is a 3D. Like you can tell when he throws the character up in the air,
right?
Gets thrown in the up in the air and falls on the train tracks. That whole sequence was made for 3D.
Made for 3D.
It looks fine and kind of fantastical again when you're watching it on Blu-ray. But again, it's clearly made to just fly out into the audience basically and then come falling down. In 2011, though, this is just an interesting year to me because you've got Hugo, and then on the other side, you've got Spielberg does The Adventures of Tintin.
Yeah, that's right.
I think those are new ventures for both those guys because Scorsese's never done a kids movie, and Spielberg has done kids movies, but he's never done an animated movie.
Right.
And they're both kind of working in 3D on both those films.
Yeah,
and
weird,
pioneering kind of new visual stuff. I'm kind of surprised Adventures of Tintin wasn't up for. I don't know if it was or not. I didn't check, but for visual effects of some kind.
Or I mean, at least Best Animated. I wouldn't have thought that it would have been up for.
But anyway, it's just a fascinating period of time where you're kind of in between where we are now with the things getting produced nowadays, where it's mostly IP driven, although it seems to be slightly changing maybe with some of the successes of original films last year. But and Hugo is an IP technically, but
and it's interesting. An insight that was mentioned during the documentary that I didn't realize, obviously, is in 2010 and at probably 2009 when he was actually shooting Shutter Island, that he was really going through a lot of emotional and mental health issues during during the shooting of that film. He was having a lot of anxiety, and just the subject matter of that film was really messing with him a lot. And so if you look at he took a bit of a break. I mean, not a long one, but he made a couple of documentaries in between Shutter Island and Hugo. And so from the standpoint of maybe he just wanted to do something more just relaxing and chill, and Hugo was the complete opposite subject matter from Shutter Island, basically. And so that's probably why he ended up doing Hugo. And then after that, really his whole life changed when he made The Wolf of Wall Street and finally won his Best Director Oscar. Which was huge because he had been nominated so many times before that. People were starting to wonder if he was ever actually going to get that Best Directing Academy Award, which Wolf of Wall Street, love or hate it, it is a heck of a movie.
Yeah.
So it's a very graphic film, but that's the one that he won his Best Director for. But yeah, I love the fact that he did take the time to do Hugo.
It's awesome
because
it feels as different to his filmography as The Color of Money does to me.
Yeah, exactly. Which, gosh, The Color of Money, again, that Mr. Scorsese documentary kind of just mentions the fact that he just wanted to work with Paul Newman, and that's the movie that was on the table.
He apparently does not love that movie. I love it.
I think it's great.
Is fun.
Now, it's definitely a movie of its time, but I think it's a fun film. Yeah.
I think it's it's classic Tom Cruise in the 80s.
Right.
Being a cocky hot shot.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled that I was able to own this film, first of all, and finally watch it and pull that film off the shelf. But now I'm excited to hear what your off the shelf pick is going to be, because
All right.
I'm always excited about your off the shelf picks.
Now, preface for next week, because that's probably going to be our Oscar winners episodes, and we'll see what happens
we'll talk
with
about
all that.
Yeah.
But my pick for next week, or whenever we do it, is 1985's Witness.
Oh, dude,
starring Harrison Ford.
Oh yes. And I happen to have the 4K Ultra HD DVD of Witness. So
me too. The Arrow version.
The Arrow version. So I'm excited to watch that. I have not seen the film in 4K before, so I'm excited to watch that.
I've never seen it before. So.
Obviously, yeah, that is. Oh yes, that is a good one. Good grief. That's a big one. You always pull out the big films, man. I mean,
I got some on my list still.
Yeah,
we may start running out at a certain point, but yeah.
Well, I think the ones I think my collection's probably a little bit bigger than yours. So I, just by nature of where my collection is, I probably have more films that I own that I have not seen before than you do. But maybe not. I mean, you've got a lot of box sets of older crazy stuff that I have never seen. So
yeah, we could go through the whole Ingmar Bergman cinema, but I'm not going to do that to us.
Well, we might eventually episode 250. Maybe we'll do some Ingmar Bergman. You never know.
Yeah. I'm trying to work through it myself, but yeah. All right. Speaking of big films, and kids movies, you saw last week, I saw this week. Hoppers 2026, directed by Daniel Chong, written by Jesse Andrews. Wow, I saw the trailer for this, I guess, last year.
Yeah.
And when the teaser came out and the trailer came out, and I'll be honest with you, I was coming into this going like, okay, whatever. It's another one of these Pixar movies that they're losing their touch. I'm not. This is not for me.
Never
I'll go see Pixar. It. And man, this was really good.
Yes, it was.
It's probably the best messaging I've seen from a Pixar movie since Soul.
Yeah.
Where I mean, look, there's some environmental stuff in there or whatever, but the messaging is largely that everyone has something good. Everyone is good inside in some way.
Yeah. Which I don't know if I necessarily believe in that, but still,
well, it's a much better thing to put forward than some of the other stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
It's permeated in messaging.
I agree.
and that we just shouldn't assassinate our political rivals. That's also a
right. I'm sure that was the messaging they were going for with that. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that is a big, large theme throughout this, is that she's got a big political rival in this movie, and the animals are like, okay, let's go kill the guy, and she's like, wait, no, I just want to stop him from taking some land. I don't want to kill the guy.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy it?
Good voice cast. The main star, Mabel, was not a person I'm familiar with. Her name is Piper Kurata. I don't know who that is. Maybe she's just a voice actress that I'm not sure who that is. But I mean, the people that you'll recognize, Bobby Moynihan is in this. John Hamm plays the mayor and is fantastic. Kathy Najimy, Dave Franco, and then from there,
Dave is awesome when he gets to be in the robot body.
Yes, he is really great. Yeah, he's the insect king. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. When I saw the preview for the first time last year, it seemed to me that what I felt was happening was that Pixar was kind of playing it safe and was trying to just release like somewhat whimsical, maybe not very heavy on the messaging type of movie. But and then, I mean, even as the trailers came out, they did a very good job of not really revealing any main story elements in any of their trailers. Like I couldn't quite understand what was going on. And man, this could be a secret prequel to Up as well. From that one little shot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that one little shot. And so who knows? But all Pixar movies could be tied together and we just don't know. But which would be funny. But the fact that Mabel was we start the film and Mabel's kind of like a little kid, and she's kind of gregarious in her attitude towards the environment, and maybe gets herself into a little bit too much trouble at school and stuff like that.
And the movie shows that she's way too overzealous. She constantly gets herself in trouble, even if she thinks she's right.
Exactly.
She constantly turns everybody off because she's just way too like in their face, and they're not portraying her as a perfect human being, which I enjoyed as well. She's got growth that needs to happen in the film.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we're introduced to a grandmother character that's kind of like her mentor, who kind of is showing her how to center herself and maybe be calm in certain situations, and to take a breather every once in a while instead of just flying off the handle as she's trying to handle different things. And as happens in all Disney movies, the loved one passes away. So the grandmother passes away at some point, and we do sort of a jump forward situation to Mabel as an adult. And she's still, when we first see her as an adult, she's still a little bit too overzealous to me. Like she's still making some choices with her.
That's how you get into the story.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but
right. Like she hasn't had much growth, it seems, even though her grandmother was like, here's this place you can go, you can meditate. Like
I felt the same way.
Yeah. She was still, like, it seems like didn't
she's
really
still
learn
super
much.
Angry.
Yeah, still super angry. Especially at the mayor. Now we don't know their total backstory, which is fine. I like that. I mean, it's less tell than show. I mean, you don't have to, like, we get that there's a backstory here with her and the mayor. We understand that they know each other and that they've had run-ins before.
Yep.
And John Hamm, I just can't speak highly enough about how good he was as this character. Like, he was evil when he needed to be evil, but then was able to, like, as the movie progresses and the message unfolds, he calms down and whatnot. But the movie just came out, so I don't totally want to spoil it. But the main crux of the whole premise of the film is this, I guess, scientist has found a way to create a robot that can intake the mind away into this robot. So like you go under this thing and your mind and everything goes into this robot. And we see that the robot can interact with Mother Nature and all the animals and whatnot, and hilarity ensues from that point on. But just crazy stuff goes down between once Mabel is put into the robot. It just goes crazy. Like, craziness happens that is some of the funniest stuff that I think Pixar has ever done or done in a long time.
There's some really, really funny moments in this. There's a scene with the even just like awkward funny moments where
exactly.
like the end of the council scene where she does something drew some laughs in our theater.
Yes.
Her relationship with the king of the mammals.
I really enjoyed. Yeah,
I think he's fantastic in the movie, and I really love that character.
He's great.
And the lizard, small, a big part of the marketing for some reason. Small, but he's enjoyable when he's on screen.
Yeah, he's not there too often, but a big part of the marketing.
I did like the end of the movie when she comes back to the pond, and I'm not trying to spoil anything necessarily.
Right.
He comes back to the pond, and he breaks out the device and starts doing the thing he had done previously in the movie. And he's still doing it the same way he was doing it.
Yes, exactly. So good. I love just the visual cue for the audience of when we're in animal world versus human world.
The eyes and
the
eyes
too. And I think that is really some ingenious storytelling device there. And it just allows the audience to kind of figure out what's going on a little bit. And I thought that was great. The emoji stuff. Oh my gosh, the emoji stuff is hilarious. There's just some crazy things that happen in this movie.
The human standpoint is like they're talking to each other, and then it goes to a human POV, and when it's in the human POV, they just see the animal going. Rah, 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 rah. It's just,
and I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people will say that Pixar has been on the downslope a little bit. I never would say that about the animation itself. I think the animation itself is still number one in the industry. I don't think that
I think the storytelling has been.
I think the storytelling's maybe been a bit down.
I'll just go ahead and say it. I think Luca is not very good. I think Turning Red was not very good.
I thought Elemental was good.
I did too.
I thought Elemental was really
I thought Inside
well
Out was great.
Inside Out
2. Yep. Yeah. So they've been on the rise.
So they've been on the rise again. And so we're going to be getting a lot.
Fantastic, by the way.
Soul is really good. That was during the pandemic, and that is a fantastic movie. I mean, and I think that they made the error, and not to blame them, because a lot of other companies were doing the same exact thing. They were afraid to put anything in theaters. And so they were releasing what was a brand which was kind of the pinnacle of the Disney brand, which was Pixar. They were relegating it to a streaming service because of the pandemic. Now, what that did, I think, is give the audience the expectation that they don't need to bother seeing Pixar films in the theater anymore, because they're going to show up on Disney Plus eventually anyways.
If you remember, that was a Chapek thing, because
it was. You're right.
And they were putting out articles in the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and various Hollywood trades where they would get anonymous quotes from Pixar employees saying, like, we want this in theaters, and they're shoving it on Disney Plus. The management is, and we don't really understand why. And that was Chapek mandated a lot of stuff for Disney Plus, and that blew up in his face. And
the airing of grievances.
So there you go.
Yeah, the airing of grievances from employees is never a good thing. So, especially when it ends up in the trades, it's never a good thing. But I mean, what people were getting used to, I think, even though Soul was really good, I think there's merit to some parts of Turning Red. Luca, again, like, the animation has never waned. Like, there has never been a moment where I'm watching one of these.
No, I agree.
Especially the Pixar movies that were on Disney Plus. I mean, the animation was still top notch. Everything was still, and this animation is still top notch. I still think that from an animation standpoint, they're the best. And now I think that they're getting back to being the best from a storytelling standpoint as well. I just think that they did such a really good. There was a lot of heartfelt moments in this movie. Within the ability of the humor too, there was a lot of heartfelt moments.
And you look at their upcoming slate, there are people complaining about all the sequels, but first off, that's the best performing stuff. But not even getting into that. I mean, not even getting into that. If you look, they're doing a one original, one sequel, one original, one. I mean, so they're trying to make originals happen. Hoppers could be a thing that turns into a series. I don't know how far you go with it, but it could. Gato comes out next year. That's an original film.
Right.
You got Toy Story 5 this summer. That's a sequel. It makes business sense to me for them to do it that way.
It's been a minute.
To offset some of those originals that maybe don't do as well with the sequels that do gangbusters.
And look, I mean, from a box office standpoint, this isn't necessarily doing historic Pixar numbers. I mean, it's doing well, but
it's doing the best an original film has done for Pixar since Coco.
Yeah.
Which, again, caveat is some of those went straight to Disney Plus.
Right. They weren't given a chance.
But I don't think some of those would have opened done how this one has.
I don't think so. I think that the whole Turning Red controversy is much more of a non-controversy to me. I mean, I think that some of that stuff,
I just don't think it's a great film.
it wasn't great, but I think some of that stuff that came out when that film was released was so silly, because it wasn't really as bad as what people were trying to make it to be.
Sean O'Connell got dogpiled for daring to say he didn't like the movie. So
you're right. No, that's fair. I mean,
so
I get
I
it.
kind of got a little mad about that personally.
No,
but.
I get it. No, and that's fair. But some of that stuff was just so annoying. And Luca was sort of just a non-movie to me. Like I remember
Yes,
Luca.
it
I've
was
seen
just,
it one time.
yeah, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, it didn't do much for me. But Hoppers, they're back to the ability to have some really great laughs.
Well, they made me care,
and it coupled with characters that you like and care about what's happening to them, and the messaging, like you alluded to, the messaging is good as well. So I mean, totally recommend Hoppers by far. Like, don't skip on Hoppers. Like my kids, and like I said, I think a couple weeks ago, I've got a 15-year-old and an almost 11-year-old, and both of them were like, nah, we don't want to go to see that. But then they started seeing just TikTok videos on it and people loving it, and they're like, man, I wish I would have gone to see that with you, Dad. I was like, that's right, you never skip on a Pixar movie again.
They've been influenced.
They have. Look, and TikTok doesn't lie. I mean, when it comes when it comes to opinions of movies, I think that you can generally rely on.
Be careful with that sentence there, Mikey.
No, you're right. Yeah, I know you're right. You can generally rely on what people are saying on social media a lot of times.
Well, if you find people who are like-minded to you,
right?
And maybe that's why you're listening to this podcast, the Cinema Debrief podcast.
Maybe
find reviewers that you don't want to just be in an echo chamber, but find reviewers that you generally tend to agree with, so that if they put reviews out and most of them are positive, you can go, okay, well, it's probably worth checking out.
Exactly.
That's how I kind of do it as well.
Yeah, we won't lie to you on Cinema Debrief if a movie's bad. We're going to tell you if it's bad.
I mean, we have done that.
we have definitely done that with The Bride. Wait, you never saw The Bride, did you?
We did not do The Bride, but yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't do The Bride.
That's a funny way to do that.
It was bad. Don't go see that. Anyways, yeah, you never saw it, did you?
No, I saw that it was rotten initially, and I looked at some reviews, and then it became positive weirdly.
Yeah,
and then I think it went back to rotten maybe. Anyway, I don't really care whether or not it's rotten or positive necessarily.
Yeah.
I've seen rotten movies that I've enjoyed, but everything I read about the movie, I was like, this does not sound like it's up my alley.
Well, yeah, already this year with Crime 101, I mean, that movie should not be a rotten movie. Critics are dumb. Critics are dumb when they're reviewing that film. I don't understand why that did not resonate with critics. It definitely it resonated a bit more with audiences than it did critics, but that is a good movie.
Well, hey, look, if you want to see a movie about the ghost of Mary Shelley possessing a woman in the 1930s, is that what it is? Or
30s or 50s? No, would have been 50s, I think.
Well, there you go. It's a movie for you.
Yeah, The Bride, I don't know. Man, but we have got really what could be the first mega hit of the year.
Yes, sir.
Out this coming weekend.
Yes, sir.
I'm nervous, I'll be honest, that audiences are not going to give it a chance initially.
I think you'll be surprised.
Word of mouth, because literally a lot of people have already seen this movie because they did a 70 millimeter screening of it, where if you were an Amazon Prime member, you could go to specifically the 70 millimeter screenings of it on Friday night. Very positive reviews coming out of that 70 millimeter screening. Monday is the Amazon Prime screening for just IMAX, and I guess premium format. I wonder if it's just, I don't think it's just IMAX. It might be all premium formats, but maybe it is just an IMAX thing. I don't know.
I'm in in several film communities, in several Discords with different people. I have heard nothing but positive things. The only person I saw anything tepid from, just kind of lukewarm on it, was a guy who didn't like Ryan Gosling, who doesn't like Ryan Gosling. Sorry. So I was like, okay, well then, you're probably just not going to like that movie anyway.
My biggest
but still, they liked it. They just didn't love it.
So I hesitate to call this a 4-quadrant movie, but it's somewhat close to what like The Martian ended up being a huge hit.
Yes.
And it's the same author, Andy Weir.
Yep.
That did Project Hail Mary.
Same guy adapting it. It's Drew Goddard on both.
Drew Goddard adapting it, which is a huge positive. Which I don't think that they are doing a good enough job. And they don't, it's not like they usually often talk about the screenwriters, but why not at least say, hey, from the guy who adapted The Martian, here's Project Hail Mary. I mean, but I don't want the Fall Guy to happen where everybody thinks because it's a Ryan Gosling movie, it's going to be huge, and it tanks.
I think we would already see the numbers not in a great position by now.
I think you're right. Yeah,
they are in a really good spot. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm seeing it Monday night with, again, one of my really good friends.
Yep.
We're going up to the big IMAX up here, and I'm very hopeful that we get to see the Odyssey 5-minute preview as well, because I have not seen that in person. I've seen a cam of it that someone posted on Twitter, and even the cam made me go, wow.
Oh, dude, it's pretty awesome.
But I can't wait to see it on the actual.
What was that playing before?
It opened in front of was
Avatar? Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Avatar, because that's where. Yeah. I saw it. I saw the IMAX.
You had that and the Avengers trailers coming out around the same time.
That's right. Yeah, those Avengers. In all honesty, I've already forgotten about the Avengers trailers, but I'm looking forward. Not that I'm not looking forward to Doomsday, but I've already forgotten what. I know one of them was Thor, Captain America, and
they also haven't kept up with, and that's fine. The
marketing.
They'll ramp it up. About 6 months out, probably anyway. So
yeah, something like that. So, but you also mentioned that you were going to go see Ready or Not 2. I'll try and go see that as well. But I mean, our main focus is going to be Project Hail Mary. I mean, so that'll be I
agree.
Obviously, always welcome to go see as many movies as you want to on every weekend, but our focus that we're going to be talking about is Project Hail Mary, of course.
I'm locked into whatever Cinema Debrief does. I can't see anything else.
Well, I'm saying that for our listeners as well. Please feel free to go see whatever that random movie Garrison mentioned early that sounded like an Indian film. There it is, the Andy Will Project Hail Mary. I listened to that book when it came out.
Really?
So it's been many years, because it came out in 2013. When did that book come out?
21.
21. Oh, there was something in between The Martian and that, though, wasn't there?
Artemis.
Yeah, I didn't love Artemis.
Yeah, I remember love Artemis.
I remember listening to it, and maybe that's why there wasn't a movie of that yet.
Referred to as his sophomore slump by a fair amount of people.
Yeah, and I think it was optioned for a film.
Yes, in fact, Phil Lord and Chris Miller have the option.
Oh, so they could do it if they want to.
And they pretty much said that they were having a tough time cracking some of the visual effects on it. I'm sure probably the script as well, but
yeah, I guess I could just get Drew to do it again, but
well, Drew would have to. It was interesting. He was in an interview for this film the other day. He was like, I only adapt things that I really love, because if I don't, then I'm going to tear it apart and try to make it better. And I bet he probably doesn't love that novel.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, like you said, it was Weir's sophomore slump. So anyways. So I mean, 2 really great movies this week. And I think that we have the opportunity for 2 really great movies next week with Witness and Project Hail Mary. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching Witness again. I have not seen that movie probably since the 90s. It has been that long since I have seen Witness. So I'm very excited to revisit that. Mostly because I'm kind of just loving where Harrison Ford is in his career right now.
Yeah.
And just I mean, obviously every time I see that guy on screen, there's a lot of nostalgia that goes with that. But his speech at the Actor Awards was really something special. And you can just tell that he is also just kind of reminiscing about his career a lot lately. And just he still has that dry humor, but also the dry humor is coupled with kind of a sensitivity that I have not seen out of him before. And I just am excited to watch one of his older films. And people don't often equate him with being more than like an action adventure star. And Witness is one of those movies that when you watch that, you're like, oh, he's more than just that. Mm-hmm. And he is just phenomenal in Witness. And I suggest our listeners, even though if you've seen the movie, please rewatch it with me, and maybe for the first time with Garrison, because it's worth a rewatch. That is one that people should rewatch often. And as I've alluded to, I'm excited to be on this podcast in general, because rewatching is not something that I ever really did much of. And so this is giving me an opportunity as just a cinephile just to rewatch some things instead of always focusing on the future and what's ahead. I can look at the past, and I'm enjoying a lot of these films that I've already seen for Garrison's off the shelf picks.
That's well put, because I still need to look towards the past sometimes. I never finished the AFI stuff. I never seen all the Best Picture winners. That's something I want to do at some point, but I've never sat down and done it like you did in 21.
Well, the only reason I was able to because of the pandemic. So let's not wish for that again. But
that's true. That's true.
We don't want to wish for that again.
Those were my best years watching movies, 20 and 21.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
everybody had a lot of more time on their hands.
22 was one of my slowest years when I was trying to graduate from college. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, where can people find you on social media?
Oh, Mike? Yeah. I am on X at the Michael Nip, and then Letterboxd. Just look up Michael Nip and you'll find me on there. Some of our listeners that I never thought would join Letterboxd. I'm not saying that they joined Letterboxd because of Cinema Debrief, but Rhett and Dr. Earl being on Letterboxd is really...
Dr. Earl?
Yeah, he's on there now. I would have never thought in a million years either one of the... And Dr. Earl is a movie lover, but hates technology and social media, and so often does not participate in such things. And so with him being on Letterboxd, he's even done a list. He did his favorite films of 2025, a top 10 list on there. So I was very excited. I think you just look up Doc Earl, maybe.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah, and it's just really, and Rhett especially, I would have never thought would have gone on Letterboxd, because he's anti-establishment, and so I was surprised when he got on Letterboxd. So
it's funny, Letterboxd used to kind of be its own little small thing.
Yeah,
even when I joined it in late 2017, early 2018.
Yeah,
it was still a kind of a small community. You had joined it and then left it.
Yeah, I was trying to fight the power.
And now it's such a massive site that sometimes it annoys me, but
it is. It's more populist than it was. It's definitely, and I'm sure that annoys some of the OG Letterboxd users. But the truth of the matter is, cinema is for everyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to just be a pretentious douchebag. You can just enjoy.
Okay.
Well, like there's a lot of those original Letterboxd users that fancy themselves something special, and it's not. You don't have to be that way. You can just enjoy it for what it is.
You can find me on Twitter at GRyphen3, GRYFUN3, Letterboxd at GRyphen. You can find Cinema Debrief at Cinema Debrief on Twitter and Instagram. And you can email us at cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com for access to our Discord, or, just want to send us a letter. Jeremy Burgess did that already. It was fantastic. And we'll see you guys next week for Project Hail Mary, Witness, and maybe Ready or Not 2.